Good morning, what is up fellow Hoops fans? Welcome back to another episode of the Last Shot NBA show here on Little Birdie TV, and as always we are brought to you by our good friends over there at topsport.com.au. Now it's Wednesday morning. Wednesday mornings we always have an international guest. We usually have some journalists, people that can talk to us about the NBA, what's going on inside the NBA, but today we've actually got a very special guest. We've got an actual NBA or a former NBA player, but an actual basketball player that can tell us a different side of things today. He's a very good friend of mine. I met this guy many years ago when I was over in the US covering the NBA. Mangok Mathiang. Mango, my man, how are you, sir?
I'm well, man. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Like, we were talking about this off camera a little bit before, but you and I, go way back. I interviewed you when you were at Louisville. And I think that might have been the year you won the national title too. I'm not saying it's because of me, but, but maybe I helped a little bit. And obviously I covered you while you were with the Greensboro Swarm, with the Charlotte Hornets. You and I have become pretty good friends over the years, and it's always a pleasure to chat hoops with you. But you're actually back in Melbourne at the moment. You've been playing in Europe for the last few years, but you're back in Melbourne at the moment. My man, what's going on with you? Just tell us, give us a bit of an update on you and your situation right now.
First of all, I'd like to thank you for giving me the opportunity to even show up at your, taking the last shot, because I remember taking my last shot one time in Louisville that winter. But since you want to bring back the memories, man, honestly, man, it's been a great run, honestly, till now. Even since you go back all the way to college, it's been a great run for me. It's been a lot of fun moments, ups and downs, and, a lot to learn from and a lot of experience. So, I'm really happy to be where I'm at and just be really grateful, to God with his planning and everything that he's had written for me in my story, to even meet great people such as you, starting off in my career in college as well, and just having somebody that, from home that also lives in America, who's been living there for some time, to just kind of give me some type of, something that I could feel like I'm home, So it felt good, and you've just been a great mate since then. And coming to Greensboro and the Hornets, yet again, piggybacking into you again, just being with the Knicks and just working with them for a few years and all of that. Just kind of when you called my line, I was like, yo, man, I'm going to come down to Greensboro. And I was like, please do come. I'm over here bored. So come over here and just, have some time with me and some fun time with me over here somewhere in the country somewhere. So it was great, and just feels good to just being back home, honestly, being in Europe for, the past few years. It's been a great experience, especially going to, like you mentioned, with the Hornets. I won, a championship my first year. And that was a tremendous experience. Just being on that stage and just having a great group of leaders, such as Payne Siebel, who's actually here in, in Australia playing for the NBL, and Russ Smith, who's just got his number retired in Louisville, and Gorgie Jang, who's been a vet, for quite some times in the NBA. Just having great leaders that I could learn from, on and off the court, that can just help me not only just with that year when we won the championship, but throughout my whole college career, and also leading into professionalism, and then just being back home with the situation that I'm in with injuries and everything. It's just the past experience have kind of helped me just kind of navigate and just know how to, I guess, stay positive minded within all of this, cluster that I've been going through.
So tell us a little bit, because you were playing in Slovenia last year, I believe, and that's where the injury occurred. So what exactly happened, and how much longer are you out for, Mango?
Shoot, I think it was the night before the debut of my game, the first game of the season. Just been kind of like feeling off about something. So when I went to practice, I guess he just finally just happened, and then he just let me know what it was. But I was out well, I had to go from here to home right after COVID, so I had to quarantine and stuff before I had flown out. So then when I got there, I was already behind, I guess, with some of the preseason workouts and just training camp and everything. I was a little behind, out of shape. Just needed to kind of like catch up with everything. So by the time I got there, I had to quarantine again, obviously because of COVID and the isolation rules that the whole world had going on. So basically, had to quarantine for almost close about like a month before I actually went into preseason and getting ready for the season and all of that. So I had about like honestly 3 weeks before I could get ready for the first game. And within those 3 weeks, I practiced for like 2 weeks, and then for a week, and within that, I had to kind of get like some type of time off just to give my body some rest because I've been overloading and was trying to catch up. And then I guess just coming back 2 days before the debut, the first practice was well. The second practice is when it actually happened, and it was just off a roll, walking, rolling down to the basket, trying to avoid the low man from coming to help. And the low man was there early, and for me, it was just decision making, and then the decision making, I guess it was just the landing and the timing of the landing. So landed pretty wrong, just trying to worry about landing on somebody's foot and really kind of like injuring me. I guess that ended up happening anyway. So, but throughout that whole time, it happened around August 2020, and yes, 2022 now. So I've been out for 2 years, damn near, and I've had some setbacks in between. Came back home around like May, went back, and then still had another setback. So I had to come back home and actually officially just really focus and just trying to get my body right and just trying to get my mental right just throughout what everybody's going through, including everyone is going through this whole COVID stress and just COVID, not knowing what's really going on, even as we speak, still going on. So, I just had to get myself right, get my mental right, and nowhere better to do it than home, honestly. So I'm just really happy to be home and really excited for, the next month coming ahead. And hopefully, man, it could just be the next 3 months, maybe two, maybe God willing, maybe one. We'll see how it goes.
I know you've been doing some heavy workouts with our good friend Neil over there at 3 Street. You guys have been working out sometimes twice a day from what he's been telling me. What's the plan? Do you want to go back to Europe? Are you still looking to sort of maybe go back to America? Have any NBL teams been reaching out to you? I feel like you could be a good fit on some NBL teams down here too.
I mean, for me, you know how it is, Nick, man, with this business. You really kind of like don't just go planning just straightforward, knowing that that's what's going to be. I think you just got to have plan A, plan B, and so forth, just in case, especially with somebody that's coming off an injury like me. But for me, man, I've always, even before I went to Sylvania, I think I was really, really had high hopes of playing for NBL. And just with the way that NBL is, it's been marketed and just the way that it's changed from 2009 when I first left here. It's just a totally different league.
Yeah.
It's hella fun. It's mostly kind of like player and fan oriented. And that's what I guess basketball and all team organization should be about. I think the front office of the whole NBL is just doing a great job of just monitoring of just how to get the fans involved and just kind of trying to make it all about them. That's what's the beautiful part about it. I'm a very, I guess you could say, passionate player. So yeah. I truly depend on the fans and just really, admire the way that they just come in, on some of them, it's like their day offs, and some of them is coming from like work or whatever to just come and cheer us on, on time of need. So that's something that I really hold special to me. So the NBL is doing a great job with it right now, and it's building, as we speak. And every year is just going to keep getting better, and that's something excited. I feel like that's something I want to be a part of, just being it from, me being from Australia and all of that. And I've really kind of, besides playing for the Boomers, I don't think I've ever played an actual competition sport besides domestic basketball of like basketball sports over here in Australia. So I would love to be involved in it somehow, some way. I'm not really sure if this is the timing or, or it's going to come down the line, but I am very, hopeful into trying to play in the NBL and, trying to see if it could become a home for me, because my number one goal is obviously trying to get back to the NBA and, pursue my dreams and hopes and just playing in the NBA multiple years. I fulfilled it into just being on a team, and it was grateful, and it was the best time I could, ever had, and could really sit back and think about besides championship runs with Louisville. But I think right now is just trying to just stay in the course and just trying to stay mentally healthy, and just trying to keep pushing myself and not letting the day-to-day setbacks kind of, cloud my judgment of what it is I'm trying to do in the long run. So, the NBA teams have always been interested of me, and I've always been, on the lookout of me wherever I do go, whether it was Italy or, Slovenia where I just ended. I think they've always been, keeping their eye out on me and just staying in touch to see, whenever the right time is. But I think the best way to do it right now is Australia, just because of the marketing and just the excitement behind it, and just me being from home. Melbourne is doing a great thing right now with my boy Joe. So
yeah, I actually wanted to ask you. I wanted to ask you about him actually, because I've seen you at some NBL games this year. What do you think of his? Is he the MVP of the NBL this season so far?
I don't think that's something you need to actually kind of like debate about. I think Joe's been very consistent throughout the whole year, and I wouldn't even just say the year. The way he ended his season last season with Melbourne United and even helping them win that chip was just tremendous. Him coming off the bench and being the leading scorer off the bench and the sixth man, of the year and all of that. And then also coming back into the season and starting it off with a 30-point game in the preseason. That's something that I think a lot of people have forgotten about. And then him just piggybacking it up with just tremendous playing, on both ends of the courts, defensively and offensively. And you could tell Joe has always been a leader, but just in his own way. Joe is a leader that leads, through example, and that's what he's been doing throughout the whole season. And you could tell, everything else is speaking for itself, because his team, I'm guessing, is like number one right now in the ladder. And, they've been the most consistent team who's been playing well as a team besides, I want to say, the Bullets. So, he's doing great. I don't think the MVP is something that, you need to kind of like bring up about Joe being it, because I think he's already won it in my, point of view. I think right now he's just thinking about trying to get himself another championship and how he can, get his teams to really, really buy into that and get ready for the playoffs. And, once the playoff shows up, we all know what Joe's going to do. So the MVP, I feel like it's already kind of like he's, no offense to anybody else that's been playing great and been doing their thing, but I just feel like Joe has just been every single game, just increasingly just getting better and better. And, he's just, I feel like just extended himself and just distanced himself from a lot of the centers in the NBL right now. Not knocking anybody that's working off hard and everything, but his play has just been, speaking for itself.
I was talking to another good friend of ours, Corey Homicide Williams, the other day, and he was going on and on about Joe, and he's the MVP of the league and all that sort of, and he said to me he will be on an NBA roster next season. Now, I've got two questions for you. One, do you think Joe will be on an NBA roster next season? And two, who else do you see that's sort of maybe in the NBL right now, the next sort of Aussie that could maybe break through to the big stage?
Honestly, I feel like Joe could have gotten into an NBA team last offseason. Just with the way that he played last season with helping the team winning the chip. I think it was just very efficient, just coming off the bench, knowing his role as coming off the bench of who he is. And I think he just played it tremendously. And I think this year just coming off, off that, knowing that he is going to be the next go-to big man, I think he's taking that very personally and, has really just came to play and brought it to the table without anybody having to, call upon him and say, oh, we need Joe to, whatever the case may be. And the man is playing tremendous. He's playing inside out. He's playing all great, pick and roll defense, which is all NBA is right now. He's very agile, very, can hold his own on the post, can handle the ball. His IQ, as you could tell, is pretty up there with winning the chip last year and on the way to winning another one, with them being number one. So I think with him being in an NBA team, he fits, just fine, just perfectly because of the way that he plays, who he is. He's a person that's always just being to himself, always just trying to get better, just trying to be the best that he can be. So, I feel like him being in an NBA roster this coming season is, it's not going to be a surprise. And for me, I have Homicide as my dog, and it's not only my boy. It's somebody that I've been looking up to for some time just because of his knowledge of the game and just how he knows, the game is going to play out, sort of a little bit. And he's predicted a few, of our Aussie players that came and played in the NBL who went on to the NBA and actually, held their own and did what they had to do. As he tries to remind everybody, it's not a cupcake league, and it's not, as you can tell. And as you can see, we have talent all over. And I think we have even more talent that a lot of people haven't seen around the world, and just the way that we are funding them in and out, just even if it's at the NBA or it's at, overseas in Europe with the high European leagues, which is, Euro Cup, Euro League or whatever, however way you want to put it. I feel like Australia is just producing a lot of great basketball players. We have, the fans behind it. We have the love of the game behind it, the knowledge of the game with great players like, Bogut and Luke Longley, great players who've won and been in the highest stage of NBA, who've won championships and helped teams win championships in big ways. So the game of basketball has always been around in Australia, and just now it just feels beautiful and looks beautiful for the whole world to just basically see, what we're made of and what we have in our backyard. And the NBL is doing a great job of putting guys such as Joe right now, as we could, talk about him out there. And if I could pick another player that's coming up after Joe to be in the league, that's tough. That's a tough.
There's a few guys that, look, I just want to touch it. You mentioned about the league, and look, we all know that the NBL right now obviously is one of the best leagues in the world, and you could probably make an argument that maybe it is the second best league, outside of America. But one thing I wanted to touch on, you mentioned it before about sort of you needing that crowd energy and how you thrive off that. And I saw that firsthand, and I saw similarities between the G League and the NBL in terms of that, because they're both very sort of family. They target families. Like I came to the G League game in Greensboro. I used to go up to watch the Westchester Knicks quite a bit when I was in New York, and they're sort of targeting the same sort of crowd that the NBL's targeting, where you go there, it's a family environment, everyone's there cheering on, having a good time. And I saw the love that you got in Greensboro, North Carolina. Like, you would walk through the tunnel, go out onto the court, kids are cheering your name, Mango, Mango, like you were signing autographs, taking pictures. So I know that, excuse me, if you were to come back into the NBL and play here, like that aspect of it, you would fit straight in.
Oh, yeah, definitely, man. I think I had a great time in Greensboro. I think for me, my kind of relation with fans is I always kind of like go back to when I'm a kid. I wish I had the opportunity to where my mom can, take me to a few NBL games or whatever, basketball games that I could have went to where I could just, watch all the guys who actually love the game and put in the work day in and day out, the unseen work. If I would have kind of like seen that earlier at a younger age, I think it would have inspired me even earlier, and I think that's what the game is for. And I think that's what the G League has kind of like grabbed and gotten onto that, is because, they see the NBA, that's the NBA, so they, been marketed for like quite some time, 75 years going in. So, it's been some time where families have already came in and been oriented. But with the G League, it's kind of like what they really want to do, because there's nothing more like, having a whole family just coming together and just spending a time together and just, enjoying a time or whatever the case may be as a group, as a family.
Yeah.
I think my mom always told me one time, and you see it in a bunch of movies and all of that, and they say, if you have an open hand, it's not doing a whole lot, but if you have the whole hand clenched into one fist, then you have a whole power behind it. So that's just kind of what it is with the whole family part of things. I think once you get a whole family oriented place into one place, I think the atmosphere and just the togetherness and the collectiveness of the people and communityness of it just become even more harder to break, and it becomes even more kind of like a ritual, because it's not just one person that is in belief or is in inspiration of that thing. It's just everybody all together, and then now everybody can be inspired within each other's inspiration. So I think that's the best way to do it, and that's the greatest way to do it. You go to some of these NBA teams and these NBA like arenas, and some of them are just, they're all old arenas, and it's just older people, and it's just older rich people, and the energy is not as loud.
Yeah.
People are not cheering. But if you bring, a younger group of kids, who just love and enjoy, you see somebody shooting a three from far and goes in, you're like so excited. It's like amazing, to where the parents are really like, nah, I'm not really worried about that, or whatever the case may be. Or if somebody gets dunked on or crossed over, these are things that kids really get excited to watch and see, because they get inspired off that, because that's something they're like, oh my God, one day I could do it, to where the grown-up could be like, my days are over, kind of. So the NBL is doing a great job with just targeting families. And then, you would just see as the, years go along, it's just going to keep getting bigger and better, and more teams getting involved. And that's something that I would love to see for sure.
I just want to ask you quickly before we get on to some of our game predictions, because we know that you're a busy man. You've got to head off. Josh Giddey, what have you thought of his performances in the NBA this season? Because he's been playing absolutely brilliantly. Obviously, he participated in the Rising Stars game and the Skills Challenge and that at the All-Star weekend. He's out injured at the moment, but he's having a fantastic season, isn't he, Mango?
Balling out, man. And I've heard this a few times of like he's the golden child of Australian basketball. And I truly believe that. I think I met Josh Giddey 2020, the first stage of lockdown in 2020. And when I came back from Turkey, I was working out with him and Brian Gorge and a few other guys. Even Chris Golden will come in, here and there, just with the whole Boomer squad, because of we couldn't get no gyms to get into. And, just watching Josh, and I've heard about him before, I got to actually work with him and just see him work. But, you could just see the kid is very, very, he's like a sponge, just trying to learn from every single person that is alongside him on the game, either it's on and off the court, just wants to get better night in, like works his butt off. You feel me? Like, I'm a hardworking man. And once I get around people that work very hard, it's just as hard as me, I kind of get very excited upon it. So I love being around Giddey, and just the way he played here in the NBL. I truly wasn't surprised at all with the transition that he's done from here to the NBL. He's a 6'8", guard that could handle, his IQ for the game is very, very high, and he can, and it's only going to get better from here. The way he's feel of the game is just something that's untaught. As now you can tell in the game there's some things that are untaught, and this is one of them. Just feel of the game. I think the first person that kind of came out with something like that was LeBron James, and then now you got the Melo Ball and all of those, future stars that are coming up. John Morant and all of that. Just guys that just have the tremendous feel of the game, and just knowing, where they need to place the ball, where they need to be, and where they need their teammates to be, and how, they can lead upon that. So truly, truly happy for Giddy and the way that he's doing. Praying for none but more this success for him and his family, his group, and his team around him. And I'm looking for an exciting, career from Giddy. This is just the beginning. And I promise you guys, I think you guys are just going to keep talking about it more and more.
Yeah,
and
facts.
For me, this is just something that is amazing for me to see because this is a hometown kid. This is a kid from Williamstown. You feel me? And this is a kid that really, grew up and understanding the game of Australian basketball and just even having the hopes and the inspiration of touching the NBA, just kind of like the names that I've already named, like the Bogut's and the Patty Mills and all of those guys. And, he's just picked up from where exactly they left off, and he's literally just taking it into his own hand and just turning it into a whole different, exciting, flow and feel of the game to where now it's Giddy's world, you feel me? And,
yeah.
I'm just happy to watch him play, and it's exciting. And, I'm just happy for the people that's helped him, come this far. I mean, me and Neil talk about it every day. He's worked with Giddy for some time, and just seeing him work from, a few years back to now where he's at, it's just something that is truly amazing. And just kids need to understand that hard work really, really, truly does pay off. And if you just stay consistent and stay faithful with your work, the payoff will come highly rewarded.
No doubt about that. And he is very quickly become, like you said, the golden child of Australian basketball. All right, Mango, we're going to get out of here. But before we do, we're just going to quickly go through some predictions and take a look at some of the games that are on today. I think there's 6 NBA games on the schedule today. We're going to take a look at 4 of them. We're going to start off with the Brooklyn Nets and the Raptors. The Raptors are heavy favorites in this one here, $1.26. Brooklyn Nets, $3.95. The line's at -5. Total is at 218 flat. Live on NBA League Pass. Toronto absolutely smacked Brooklyn yesterday in Brooklyn. This is the second night of a back-to-back, obviously, for both of these teams. They're back in Toronto for this one here. Kyrie can't play in this one because Toronto's vaccination laws. So they're going to be down Kyrie. They're going to be down Kevin Durant. No Ben Simmons still, obviously. No Joe Harris. This one's very easy for me. I think Brooklyn's going to get smacked. They're going to get smacked again.
I'm going with Toronto, man. My man Spicy P is going to do his thing. He's going to go off. It's crazy that I've known Spicy P for some time. I knew his brother. I went to the same school as his brother. First time I got to America, some school called Brent Prep. So, I've known of him. So I think he's going to handle his business like he has been, and he's going to take care of the Nets at home too.
Yeah, absolutely. Pascal Siakam is actually I think he's putting up numbers that are like pretty much the same as his All-Star season a couple of years ago. So he's been balling out. All right, next game we're going to take a look at here is Atlanta and the Boston Celtics. Boston Celtics, $1.38 favorites. Atlanta, $3.15. The line is at -6. Total's at 226 flat. This one's live on ESPN. Boston, 8-2 in their last 10. They're 1 game behind the Cavaliers for 5th spot in the East. No Lou Will for the Hawks, and John Collins is doubtful. Look, they're going to need like 60 points from Trae Young to win this one today. Even if he gets it, I don't think they're going to win. I just think Boston's been playing too well, and they're a much, much better team than the Atlanta Hawks. So I'm going to go with Boston pretty easily today.
Yeah, I'm going with Boston too. That two-headed monster duo, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, they're going off this season, and I think they're going to continue playing well. So,
all right,
Boston
we've both got Boston in that one there. Next game up on the schedule, we've got Golden State and Minnesota. This one's actually going to be probably the most fun game, I believe, on the slate today. Warriors $1.63 favorites. Timberwolves are $2.32. The line's at 3. Totals at 231.5. Live on NBA League Pass. Now, Golden State got smacked by the Mavericks the other day, but Klay Thompson is not playing today. Nemanja Bjelica is day-to-day, so he may not play as well. Obviously, they're still missing Iguodala. They're still missing Draymond Green. If those guys all don't play, I actually think the Timberwolves win this one. It is at home. The Timberwolves at this stage are fighting to get up into that 6th seed. They're trying to avoid the play-in spots. So I just believe they're going to be a little bit hungrier. And without those key guys, obviously Golden State's playing away in Minnesota. I think Minnesota gets this at home, but it's going to be a fun game. It's actually going to be pretty close despite the fact that Clay and all those guys aren't playing.
Hey, look, man, just because I'm happy with the way the bigs have been holding it down and the way my man Carl Town wants that 3 contest. But look, man, you can never bet against the bloody 3-point God. You can't do that. So I'm gonna go with Golden State, and I feel like they're gonna, come through and handle business like they're supposed to. I feel like Steph is gonna take it a little bit personal that Carl Town wants that, 3-point competition, and he's gonna want to, teach him a little.
Give him a little bit of a reminder that, hey, you may have won the 3-point contest, but I'm still the 3-point king.
Come on now. He's godly with that behind that 3-point, with that ball, he's godly with it. So I got to keep him with it.
Facts. All right, so Mango's going with Golden State there. I'm going with the Timberwolves at home. Last game we're going to take a look at on the schedule. We've got the Mavericks and the Lakers. We keep saying this every single episode. The Lakers are a mess. Mavericks $1.48 favorites, rightly so. Lakers $2.70. The line's at 5 there. Total 217 flat. Live on ESPN today. The Lakers are just racking up embarrassing losses at this point. Looks like they've given up on the season, honestly. I think LeBron's just there to make up the numbers, get his numbers. He's actually listed as day-to-day today, so he may not play. No Avery Bradley, no Anthony Davis. Luka Doncic has been absolutely hooping. I think the Mavs win this in Los Angeles very easily because I think the Lakers are done. I think they're cooked. What do you reckon, Mango?
Lakers need to blow it up, but for real. But man, I think I'm gonna go with the Mavericks with this. I think the Lakers have been a little shaky, with my man's AD. Just being down and just having a really, really, rocky season. Just trying to stay healthy and just trying to stay on his feet and trying to get his rhythm has been very hard for my man AD. So I think the Lakers and their hopes of, just the whole season is just out the window. It should be out the window by now.
It's definitely, that season is definitely done and dusted for the Lakers. All right, Mango, we're going to let you go, my man, because we know you're a very busy man. You've workouts to go to, rehab to do, so we're going to let you go. But thank you so much, man, for taking the time to chat with us today. We'll definitely, love to have you on again before the end of the season. And look, man, like you said, basketball's taken you many places around the world. It's taken me many places around the world. One of the things that I'm most grateful for is actually meeting people like you and having relationships with you beyond, basketball and beyond that sort of, just media interviewing type thing. So thank you very much, man. Really appreciate you coming on.
Thanks for having me, Nick, man. I appreciate it. This is a great show. Last shot. I love it. I'm glad to see you back on your feet, back at home. So this thing is going to blow up like you want it to be. And I think people in Australia just need to talk more hoops. I think the basketball is there. The history is there. I just feel like we just need to talk more hoops and just let really the next generation coming up really understand and know, how far Australia has really made it in this, hoop situation in basketball. Because I think they all just look into the NBA and just look at that excitement and not knowing that, we've made our own mark within the NBA of, sort and in very high of the NBA. So, next generation kids can really pretty much as well flood the NBA just as much as we will wish it to be as people will touch the NBA and would love to see more. So, man, this is what it is. You're doing a great job and continue doing it.
Appreciate you, my man. All facts spoken right there. All right, guys, this has been another episode of the Last Shot NBA show here on Little Birdie TV. As always, brought to you by our good friends at topsport.com.au. We'll see you guys on Friday morning with old mate BK.
See you later.
Thanks.